Hi, everybody. Today, I'm going to show you a new way in which you can create CSM listings in Business Central. Uh, the hope here is that this is a more efficient or maybe user-friendly way of completing this process um, and eliminating maybe a couple extra steps or mouse clicks or what have you. Uh, so again, I'm not going to get too deep into what a listing is, but just some basic information in case this is your first CSM video. Uh, Channel Sales Manager CSM uses what are called listings to represent the linkage between a e-commerce platform product or item and a Business Central item. So let's take a look at our Shopify site here. And if we come here, we can see we have these are the various listings we have. And I'll pick one, pick this watch. Basically what we're doing here is we're associating Shopify item 100594 to Business Central item SE1005. And the idea, the way this works is it's meant to facilitate product creation and management on your e-commerce platform from within Business Central. The idea here is that I would create a new item. I create item SE1005. I then, for my Shopify channel, can build a listing for it, and I have a number of different product features in here. Basic information like unit of measure, descriptive text. Images. I don't have one for this one, but you can have images, pricing information, availability. I want to send availability up to my channel. I can configure all of these options, and when I'm done, I can then send different types of listing data to the channel, and I can actually send this information, create a new product on Shopify with all of these values. And then I can continue to maintain it on an ongoing basis. So for example, as my availability changes, I can continue to send availability up. The really cool thing about listings is if you're dealing with multi-channel scenarios, you can create a separate listing on each channel for the same item. So if we were also selling SE1005 on our Magento and BigCommerce and WooCommerce channels, for example, we could create listings for those channels for that same item, but we could have separate configurations. Maybe our pricing is different from channel to channel. Maybe the pictures we want to use are the images. Maybe the method by which we calculate availability. That all can change on a channel by channel basis for the same item. So it's a very flexible way to manage and maintain your products within Business Central across one or multiple e-commerce platforms. So historically, the way in which a listing is created is you would open up the sales channel, you'd go to listing, you would say wizard. We have this little wizard creation process. The idea here is I can pick an item. So let's pick our water glass item here, say OK, say next. Here's our SKU. This can be assigned from a couple of different components of the item. The item number, combination of item variant, unit of measure, item identifier. I believe this is the item identifier, but you could also manually change this as well. So this is just a suggestion, but maybe I want to change this to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or something like that. We hit next, we hit finish, and we're done. If I now come into my listing and I look, and it's going to sort by number. So let's find that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I go too far? Here we go, right here. You can see I have a new listing. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's my item. Maybe I brought some descriptive text in. Here I brought in an image. I could grab that from the item card. Maybe some availability calculation information. And again, I can make my changes. I can tweak this as I wish. And when I'm done, I can now send this over to the channel, create a new item for my water glass on Shopify, and be good to go. I'm going to delete this listing. We'll use it again in a minute to show how the new functionality works. So let's get rid of this. By the way, what I'm showing here has purely to do with the listing creation. So the whole process of sending the listing over to the connected channel. There's no change there at all. That would still continue according to standard CSM functionality. Okay, so for illustrative purposes, we'll have a little fun with this. We'll do Shopify and Magento. So there's one piece of setup involved on the listing management fast tab of the sales channel. We have the ability now to define what's called a default SKU method. So if you remember when we created a listing through the wizard, let's pick this one. It was, again, automatically attempting to assign a channel SKU, but then I could kind of manually change it. Well, when we get into performing this from another record type and also introducing some automation into the mix, we don't have that ability to, on a listing by listing basis, make that determination. So we have to kind of create some sort of default SKU method. Again, to have a little fun with this, for our Shopify channel, we're going to use the item identifier. And for our Magento channel, we'll use the item number. So we'll use two different SKU methods. All right, so the change we've made is we now allow you to create new listings directly from the item card. And again, the idea here is to better reflect actual business process. Typically, if you're adding new products to your product portfolio, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create an item, a Business Central item. And again, the way it up until now has worked is, you'd create the item. So I'd create the water glass. I'd have to go find my channel. I'd have to run my wizard. I'd have to, plug in the water glass there. Just a couple extra steps. So what we thought would be nice is, let's say I've just created my water glass item. I've set this up in Business Central. I got my picture in there. I've got some pricing, whatever else. We now have this new auto create CSM listings fast tab we've added. So I can now, after setting up my item, build the CSM listings that I want to for this product. So you can see here I can plug in a sales channel code. You can see I can if I have separate variants or units of measures, I can create separate listings for those. In this case, just to keep it simple, I have no variants. I have just one unit of measure. But let's go ahead and plug in our Shopify channel, and you'll see that it brings in the default SKU method, so item identifier, and it then will attempt to fill that in. So in this case, we had an item identifier for this item, and you can see it's been populated. Let's put in a second line here. Again, we'll do it for our unit of measure piece. It wants a channel code. That's fine. We'll plug that in. There we go. You can see here, our Magento channel was item number, so there's our channel item SKU here. So again, it's going to be based on whatever our default was. Again, I could, if I wish, manually change this here when I'm doing this on the item card, so that certainly is available as an option. You'll also see we have this status. So we have pending and we have ready. And the idea here is that we can't, the ready status essentially indicates that we're now ready to build our listing. So if, for example, I select, I can multi-select if I wish as well. And I say auto create listing, you'll see there's this create CSM listings option. And if I pick that, it says, do you want to create two CSM listings? I say, yes, I do. Well, it's going to fail on me. And that's because I haven't updated that status from pending to released. We want to make sure that somebody is manually indicating that they are ready to create this listing. Again, as I'll show you in a little bit, we have some automation to automatically do this. And again, the idea here is that we don't want CSM to inadvertently create a listing for a product that maybe isn't ready to be completed yet. Maybe I've put in the item, but I haven't put in my picture yet, or something along those lines. So the final part of the process is you do need to set the status to ready. So the idea here is we'll do that. We'll set this to ready. Now let's go ahead and create our listing. Oh, I only have the one selected. That's fine though. We'll stick with that for now. I'll say yes. When a listing is created, it is removed from this particular page. So in this case, we had Magento selected. We created it from Magento. Let's do the same process for our Shopify one. So yes, there we go. So we know we have no more pending creation lines. Let's go back to our sales channels though. And let's look at our listing for Shopify. Somewhere in here. Oh, I'm looking the item number, but I want the item identifier. Yep, you can see right there. We've got the water glass here for this particular product. Again, the actual creation is no different than that wizard. So description, picture, again, whatever settings, that in and of itself doesn't change. We go over to our Magento site. Again, same deal. See, we've got now in this case, here's the SKU 1014. So we have that ability as well. So that's a basic listing creation. One other point I want to make is that there's a number of different item types that CSM supports. And again, the idea isn't for this video is to go through all of those, but there are a number of different ways in which you can create listings. You can create them for simple items. You can create them for variants. You can create them for virtual items, things like that. This functionality is applicable to any of them. I will show what's called a configurable item. Now we have an ability to define what are called configurable items in Business Central. Configurable item is a item that essentially exists in multiple variations. Think of like color, size type of a thing. So for example, we have a T-shirt that maybe comes in 10 different colors and 12 different sizes, and you've got all those different configurable variants. So in a case like that, we have a configurable item structure that exists that when you create the listing for what's called the parent, but then you have all of these child listings for the various configurable variations. Kind of show you how that works. Again, the process itself is no different. So here you can see we have a T-shirt. And again, I'm going to put in my sales channel code. In this case, we don't have an item identifier for this particular item. Let's go ahead and just put something in. Say 1002 or something like that. Again, let's change this from pending to ready. And we'll say create. Say yes. If we go now to our Shopify channel, look at our listings. You can see we have our listing for item 1002. That's the configurable parent, but we also automatically have all of our children listings as well. So here's the, Army Brown large, Army Brown medium, Army Brown small, Navy small, so on and so forth. So whatever configurable variants we have will still apply here as well. I mean, again, the process overall is not anything too revolutionary or groundbreaking, and the listing creation process itself doesn't really change. It just we allow you to do it from the item card. Now, the one other thing I'll show you is we have added some automation as well. Let me delete this water glass item again. We'll recreate it using automation. Or actually, we'll do something a little more interesting. We'll put in a couple items. So if you're not familiar with Channel Sales Manager, each channel has a number of what are called automation routines. These are things that you can schedule to occur according to some sort of standard recurrence using the standard Business Central job queue. So you can see, here for our Shopify channel, we have automations for sending inventory information, retrieving gift card data, sending shipping and invoicing information, retrieving orders, retrieving payments, building sales orders, so on and so forth. We have added a new automation called auto create listings. And you can see the description: create CSM listings from the CSM auto create item listing records, which are set up on BC items. So what you can do now is you can actually run the automation routine, and any listings that are set up that are configured appropriately on the item card will automatically be created for you. So let's kind of walk through what that process looks like. Let's go back to our item card, and let's actually pick a couple here. So we'll do item 1014. We're going to tie this to Shopify. Our item was on the Shopify. Our automation was on for our Shopify channel, and I'm going to set that to ready. We also have this one here, 1018, water glass with stem. Same deal. Let's do this for Shopify. This one I didn't put an identifier in. Just say 1018. Keep it simple for us to find. We'll say ready. So the idea is what you can do is you set up your item, you can indicate what listings you want, you can set them to ready here, and just be done with it. And then when the automation runs, it will automatically perform that process. So I have a little button here to affect the running of this automation. I'll click it now. Again, the idea here is you wouldn't typically do this. Typically, you would assign these automations to a job queue, and then just whatever that recurrence for that job queue would be, it would execute every hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, whatever you pick. You can see the automation finished. Let's go back to our listings in our Shopify channel. And you can see here's our 1018, our water glass with stem. And the other one was let's see, where is it? There we go, water glass. The item ID 1207. So we can also use the automation to automatically build these listings once we set their status to ready on the item card. And again, that's important. That's where that status really comes into play, because if you're not indicating in some way that the listing is ready to be sent, you could end up putting up incomplete data. I mean, maybe I'm working on this. If I'm working on this, setting up this water glass, and I've put in the basic information, but I haven't put in the picture, I haven't put in the pricing information, and that automation happens to run at that time, I don't want to send this item up. So we really need a mechanism in place to indicate that, yes, the listing is ready to be sent, and then the automation will pick it up. One final note I'll make on the automation. It's a small thing, but this routine that I showed you, so we are releasing this functionality along with a new Shopify release. This auto create listings feature will automatically be included as part of Shopify, but it's not included at this point, or will not be at this point, with our other channel extensions. So Magento, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, and Amazon. As we do subsequent product releases over the next month or so, we'll add that automation to be automatically built. So depending on when you are watching this video and what channel you're working with, this may be in there for you automatically. If not, you'll have to manually set this automation up. We will in the product documentation for the relevant channels have the steps to do that. It's really not that difficult. I mean, you're basically just going to set up this code as it exists, some of these other settings, and you'll be good to go. So there's nothing really to worry about. It's just one extra step depending on what channel you're working with. But other than that, that's it. That's the new feature. We're excited for you to get to use it and work with it. And again, hopefully it kind of streamlines the whole process of building your listings, getting them set up so that they're then ready to be communicated to your sales channels. As always, if you have any additional questions on how to work with your CSM solution, I'd encourage you to check out the other videos we have in our library.